Waka Flocka is he's still technically an active artist, but he's a rapper. Back in my era, he was one of the rappers that were in the gangster rap scene that transitioned into more of a uh, it morphed into something different. But he's in a recent interview with Shannon Sharpe, and he's just talking about a lot of different things that he learned along the way and changing his path and things like that. And the reason why it was so fucking mind blowing to me, just hearing him talk and hearing him talk in the vein and in the light, and I have a clip here I'm going to play, is because Waka Flocka, like, he was an artist under Gucci, right? They started out as friends because Waka Flocka's mom managed Gucci Man before Waka even thought about rapping, right? So Waka Flocka's mom managed Gucci Man. And Waka decided, okay, I'm going to switch my focus from the streets a little bit more to just be Gucci Man's whatever he needs, security guy, whether he needs me to book him shows, whatever. I'm going to be his right hand man and do everything. And it's
still not doing music of his own.
Right, still not doing music of his own at that time. And he turned to be sort of like everybody knows, he sort of turned to be Gucci Man's goon. But if you know Gucci Man, you know that he was the goon of all rappers, right? So Waka is like the bad man for the baddest man in hip hop, right? And rap, and that's really what it was. Like, you know, the industry feared Gucci Man, and then you have this guy that did all of Gucci Man's like dirty work, if you will. You know what I mean? He was, you know, whatever, and all of his stories were verified. So listening to this clip and just listening how it seems like and sounds like he's just fully transformed. It was just fucking awesome. Here it goes. Here goes a clip, part of the clip.
My whole shit coming up was to make it out the hood.
Correct.
I'm not one of them niggas gonna be a billionaire and go sit in the hood and roll dice and smoke weed.
Right.
I want to buy the block.
Right.
I want our name on the block.
Right.
That's going back to the hood.
Okay.
But what stopped me and what actually made me stop hanging in the hood was Dick Gregory.
Okay.
I watched this clip. Dick Gregory was like, nigga, why you buy this Rolls Royce? To ride through the hood to show you the richest motherfucker? That I can't buy one? And da-da-da-da. And it's crazy because that's why I bought it.
Right.
I was young, like, nigga,
Right.
we getting money on the south side. I'm finna pull a phantom out here, da-da-da. But I was ignorant. And at the same time, I could have bought this condo downtown Atlanta that I ride by every day today.
Right.
And it's fucking 5 times the value.
Right.
The egg on my face, right? So when I seen Dick Gregory do that, I actually got out that car. I ended up getting in an Escalade. And I've been driving Escalade ever since 2011. And I don't barely be home. Like, cars to me are just, I start figuring out.
Appreciating assets, huh?
And
I mean, come on. I mean, we need one to get from point A to point B. But at what point? Because you probably had everything. So now, is it a means of transportation or is it a means to get attention?
you know what it was? The problem, yo, this shit crazy. The problem is, like, the things I wanted to be and grow up to be, I got there.
Right.
At 23 years old.
Okay.
I was sitting so high on top of my mountain, I just kept smelling something.
Right.
It just smelled like manure. I was standing on top of shit mountain. I didn't have nothing. I didn't have no business. I didn't have no financial literacy. I didn't have an insurance policy. I didn't know what trust accounts was, shell companies. I didn't know how to go buy tangible businesses. I didn't know nothing. So I'm like, yo, how am I this famous guy and I'm the big homie and y'all respected me, but I can't even tell you how to go open up a bank account. I didn't even know how to open up a bank account, Sharpe. I'm telling you, I learned that at 23 years old. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm all respect to my mother. My mother didn't have time to teach us that. She was too busy paying bills and making sure we alive. So when I learned that part, it felt so good learning that. Like, usually if I want to run money up, I have to go in the streets now. I got good credit, some holding companies. I go give me a loan.
Right.
I go get a loan right now for $10 million, $20 million, $100 million. It's just perspective and a good business plan.
Yeah. I don't know. I just love that new perspective that he has, and going back and reflecting on, you know, things he could have did differently, and things like that.
I mean, I think most people that survive like a rapid rise to wealth, they learn those lessons.
Yeah.
And it's really like, I mean, there's a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of it is, I think, he finally gained the perspective of Rich Dad. Like, you know, he probably wasted a bunch of money doing stupid, you know, decisions and not taking care of funds in the way that he was. But thankfully, he's had the longevity to learn through the process and get to that.
Yeah.
And you have to respect that. I mean, there's we talk about these athletes, talk about entertainers and everything else. There's a the guys that survive this. And like they're in it for 10, 15, 20, 25 years at like a good level. It's insane. I mean, you have to have nothing but respect for them. Whether you like their particular music or you like their particular acting skill or whatever they got going on, the ones that survive, they deserve our respect because they've gone through that whole process that he's talking about.
Right.
And they've figured it out. And they've stayed, and while doing that, kind of like the backbone financial learning, they've also found a way to kind of stay relevant so that there's they still have some credibility and some stature, doing their craft, or the craft is sort of morphed maybe from music into acting, or like Snoop Dogg, he's just a personality now.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
and it's wild, but it's great to see. But it also begs the question. It's like it also points out like that's what mentorship is for.
Yeah.
Like that's deep down, that's what it's for. It's for guys who are in his position that have been through this and made the mistakes to reach down behind them and find, some people entering where he was at 21 and 22 on the way up and be like, yo, I'm going to save you a lot of hassle right now if you listen to me. Here's what I learned.
Yeah.
And I paid to learn it. I'm going to give it to you for free.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the way a lot of those older artists are sharing information. That's why you see a lot of younger artists, not a lot, but quite a few, they're owning their own masters. They know what that means. They're, you know what I mean? Not signing a lot of these 360 deals with these record companies and things like that. So they're the older artists are sharing information, and some of the younger artists are taking heed. And and of course you got some knuckleheads that just won't. But yeah, just like you said, man, and that's exactly what it is. But it's just just to see the transformation full circle, it's just awesome to see. But he went on to talk about other things like they keep asking him why he's not making music now, and will he make music with X and Y and Z young artists or whatever. And he was just saying how completely in a different genre and lane, because a lot of the music now from these younger guys is either slow and melodic, or like talking about what's the word I'm looking for? It's always pain and things like that. You have that lane, and then you have you still have some semblance of gangster rap shooting and things like that. And he's just not either one of those guys. He's not that guy anymore. And he says, and Waka, he makes a lot of up-tempo, upbeat music. He wants to dance. He wants to have fun and things like that.
Yeah.
So those guys like Raw Wave and things like that, who makes the slower melodic and pain, suffering music, he's just not on that either.
Yeah.
So he's just venturing out into different business lanes and just finding a way to stay relevant and stay good in business.
And you got that's goes back to that thing about the respect, because it's like, you have to keep finding a way to be relevant. It's not always going to be the same. You can't trot out your same style of music. The music's going to evolve and change. Sometimes it moves away from you. Sometimes it comes back.
Right.
As far as that goes, but to understand like who you are and understand like, I mean, I might be able to attach myself to that project, but that's not me. That's not what I'm about.
Exactly.
That's a pretty solid line of thinking on his part. Yeah, I mean, there's one story. I mean, it was there's a guy. He's actually a rock dude, D. Snyder from Twisted Sister. He's on the Howard Stern show years ago, and he was one of those things. Like, grew up in New Jersey, had the band of dudes in the thing, in the garage, and they're teenagers, and they become stars. They have a big album and a couple of hits, and then like he was on Howard Stern show. He goes, yeah, so I'm trying to write the second album, and I'm sitting by my pool at my mansion, and I just couldn't generate any teenage angst. It just didn't work. Like, it was just empty. Like,
right.
You want, again, once you go through the journey that Waka Flocka did, and now you're this like business savvy guy and whatever, you're not the same dude that was rapping earlier in your career.
Yeah.
You have a different life experience. To me, like Jay-Z epitomizes that.
Yeah.
Like, I love early Jay-Z. I mean, I was a huge fan. I don't identify with it, like any of his more recent stuff, which is, I just consider like mogul rap.
Yeah.
It's just, for some people that are aspiring to be that, like they almost find an anthem in it. I just find shit.
Yeah.
Unrelatable garbage for me. But to each their own. But he's writing true to his life now.
Yeah, he's writing true to his life.
He's not a Hard Knock Life guy anymore.
Right.
And it would be inauthentic if he tried to stay in that space.
Yeah. Yeah, you almost have to switch over. I don't know many artists who kind of like hang on to that. I'm trying to think. Lil Wayne is slightly different because of his content. He was, I don't know. Maybe he stayed a little bit more to what his early days are to what he raps now, just a tad bit. Some things have changed, but a lot haven't. But yeah, I mean that's the way you have to go that route. You have to go that route. But shout out to Waka, and the Shannon Sharpe podcast, which is doing well. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem.